The alien queen's baby wouldn't stop crying until the human man gently held her. The great halls of the Zyran citadel echoed with the cries of the infant. High Queen Syrixa, ruler of the Zyran ascendancy, stood helpless before the royal cradle. Her advisor stood at a respectful distance, unwilling to comment on the obvious. Her Majesty, the most feared voice in the galaxy, could not sue her own child. For 3 days and nights, the newborn heir had wailed. Healers had come and gone. Ancient lullabies had been sung. Even the sacred songs of the Crystal Mothers were whispered into the baby's ear. Nothing worked. She cries like she senses doom, one elder muttered. Queen Syrixa's face remained unreadable, but her golden eyes flicked toward him in warning. The infant's cries rose again, shrill, desperate. "Bring in the human," she said suddenly. Gasps filled the court. "Your Majesty, are you certain?" the Chancellor asked, voice tight. "He is not one of us." "No," Syrixa replied, "but the child stops crying when he walks past her chamber. I've seen it." Reluctantly, the guards nodded and summoned the man. He arrived minutes later. Dressed simply, wearing no armor or insignia, Corn Vale was not what the Zyrans expected of a human warrior. He was tall, yes, with weathered skin and warm eyes, but there was nothing fierce about him. Not anymore. He had been a medic during the war. That war, which ended only a year prior, had left scars on both species. Corn had stayed behind as part of the Peacekeeper Exchange program, offering aid and quiet dignity where others brought politics. Now he stood before the throne, bowed, and said, "You summon me, Your Majesty?" Queen Syrixa gestured toward the cradle. "Do something." Corn stepped forward slowly. The crying was even louder now, shaking the room. The baby, small for a Zyran, was flailing. Her translucent skin flushed deep violet. Her tiny claws scratched at the air. Her breathing was erratic. "She's scared," Corrin said gently, crouching. "She is a royal heir. She must not show fear," Syrixa replied sharply. "She's also a baby." Silence. Corrin removed his gloves and reached into the cradle. At first, the child thrashed. But then, his arms cradled her with warmth and softness that no Zyran hand had ever given. He held her close, one hand behind her head, the other wrapped beneath her legs, and whispered something that no translator caught. Within seconds, the crying stopped. Gasps echoed across the room. The child blinked slowly. Her breathing calmed. Her small claws rested against Corrin's chest as she nestled against him and let out a sigh. "Peace." Queen Syrixa stepped forward, stunned. "What did you do?" she asked. Corrin rocked gently. "Sometimes, babies just need to be held. Not with strength, with care." He looked up at the queen. She misses something she never knew. Safety. She's been surrounded by fear since birth. Syrixa's eyes flickered. "You presume much human." "Maybe, but she's calm now." The queen looked down at her daughter, then at the man holding her so gently it seemed impossible. And then she whispered, "Let her stay with you." Corrin looked up. "What?" "She sleeps in the royal nursery, surrounded by guards and walls. Yet only in your arms is she calm. Stay in the palace. Care for her." He blinked. "You want me to be her nurse?" "I want you to be her peace." The days that followed were strange. Corrin was given a quiet chamber adjacent to the nursery. Every morning, the baby, named Lyaxna, was handed to him. The cries faded with each day, replaced with soft gurgles and quiet rest. Queen Syrixa began to visit more often. At first, she stood in silence, watching as Corrin played with her daughter using little tricks, folding cloth into shapes, humming her lullabies, or simply speaking in soft tones. "You are different," she said one evening, as he walked Lyaxna through the moonlit garden. "I'm just human. Many humans I've met are loud. Violent. Sharp. You are not. He smiled. I've seen too much pain. That's enough to make a man soft. She didn't reply, but that night she stayed longer than usual, sitting beside him as the baby slept in his arms. Over the next weeks, the palace changed. Guard began to nod to Corin as he passed. Servants stopped whispering. The queen herself began requesting his presence, even when the baby wasn't crying. She asked him questions about Earth, about how he grew up, about why he never took a family. Lost him in the first Zyran raids, he said softly. Wife, daughter, I didn't join the army to fight. I joined so no one else would lose what I did. Queen Syrixa was quiet for a long time. I did not know, she said at last. You weren't meant to, Corin said. You had your own reasons. She looked at Lyaxna, sleeping in a patch of sunlight. I never thought a human would save me, she whispered. Corin turned. You weren't the one I saved. Her gaze flicked to him, and something shifted in it. One day, the child reached for him before her own mother. The queen's jaw clenched, but her voice was steady. She trusts you. I trust her, too, he said, bouncing the baby gently. And me? He looked at her. I think, he said carefully, you're a mother before you are queen, and I think the part of you that feared love doesn't anymore. She stepped closer, her golden eyes reflecting sunlight. You confuse me, human. Good. Then, to his shock, she kissed his cheek. Weeks passed into months. No more cries echoed through the citadel. The child grew strong. And love, quiet, steady, undeniable, grew in the spaces where fear had once lived. The galaxy would remember Queen Syrixa as a ruler of strength, but within the royal halls, it was whispered in awe that her daughter had chosen a human man's arms over all others, and in doing so, brought peace not just to the palace, but to a queen's heart.